Hey yoginis and yogis, today we're going to work on a quick practice for our balance. So balance and balancing poses are sometimes the most frustrating poses simply because our balance changes every single day. And so one day we can balance really well and the next day not so much. And so that can be really frustrating because it feels like we're never actually improving. One day we might feel like we're improving, the next day we've taken a step back. So we're going to try 3 different balancing poses today. And the first pose, you're going to bring your arms up overhead, and this is going to be more of a dynamic movement where you're going to feel your core turning on and working to help you lift your legs up. And it's going to be a slow and controlled movement. So inhale, lift your left leg up, or your right leg, so that your heel is right underneath your knee. Your hips stay square, pointing forward. And then set your foot down and shift your weight over to the other side and lift up. And so we're lifting one leg up in the air, pull your belly button up and in, and then step down and lift up. And then step down and lift up. And step down and lift up. And step down and lift up. And so see if you can keep your gaze straight in front of you. And to make it a little bit more challenging, you might even take your gaze up towards the ceiling. Then you have to use your core, pull your belly button up and in to help you lift your leg, and keep your heel out so that it's right underneath the knee. It might want to pull back in. See if you can keep pressing the shin forward. Relax your shoulder blades down away from your ears. For a little bit more of an easy balance movement, you can bring your hands to your hips, lower your center of gravity. Good, and then bring your arms back up. You might take your arms out to the side to feel more stable. And continue to lift one leg up, and then the other, and there will be all this wobbling underneath your feet. That's good. All these tendons in your feet working against each other and counterbalancing one another to help you balance. You'll find that balance is a very dynamic movement. There's never really true stillness. That's not the goal. The goal is just to become really comfortable with all that movement in your feet to help you feel like the rest of your body is able to stay still. So take one more, each side, your right leg up, your left leg up, and then lower down, bring your arms down. So it also maybe starts to get your heart rate a little bit elevated. Your breath is really important there. Now we're going to move into half moon. So I've got my Harry Potter book here, number 5. As a makeshift block. If you have a block, you can use that, a big thick book as well. Just be really careful that you choose something that's stable. So I'm going to take the block right in front of my right foot here. I'll start on the left. Left foot down, book in front of my foot. Reach down and place your hand on the book and lift your top leg up. I'll move back here so you can see me a little bit better. So the top leg lifts. You're balancing on one foot. Open up your right hip here to stack on top of your left. Then flex your toes back towards your face and press through the ball of your lifted foot. Your hand can stay on your hip or reach your fingertips up towards the ceiling. Now to make this more challenging, maybe take your gaze up towards your fingertips. And again, become aware of all that little movement in your bottom foot. And rather than try and make the foot be completely still, instead, use your breath and see if you can become really comfortable with all that movement in your feet. And if you fall out of it, like I just did, that's okay. Just come right back in. Engage your core muscles, pull your belly button up and in, and continue to move your hip, your top hip, your right hip up on top of your left. And if you fall out, come right back in. And you might not need the block if your hand can come all the way down towards the ground or the book. So take one more deep breath on this side. And then slowly lower your foot down and rise up. So that's a huge one on your hips because we're opening up the hips. We're in an open hip posture. And your hip flexor and the side of your hips can get really tired there. So continue to work on the pose. We'll switch sides. I'll switch sides here so that I stay facing you. The right foot is forward, facing towards the front of the mat, or facing towards whatever's the front of your room. And then lift your back foot up and slowly lower your right hand down. So now the left hip stacks right on top of your right hip. Keep the hips open. Flex your left toes back towards your face and press into an imaginary wall behind you. Now you can see my fingertips, my right fingertips on the ground. They're active. They're spread wide. They're pressing down into the ground. And then as I reach my top fingertips up, it's like I'm pulling my shoulder blades apart here. You can see now that I don't even have my hands on the block, but I'm using the traction as I pull my arms apart to help keep me balanced. And again, my right foot is moving, and I'm breathing, core is engaged. To challenge yourself, maybe take your gaze up over your top fingertips, move slowly here, and breathe. The other options for your gaze are down on the ground or straight in front of you. And be really mindful of how your neck feels as well here. So take another deep breath in. And then exhale, slowly lower your left foot down, come up to stand. Take a couple circles with your hips there to relax the muscles in your hips and stretch them out. So tree pose is next, our last balancing pose. Bring all the weight over into your right foot. And bring the sole of your left foot into the inside of your ankle calf, or you can use your hand to pull it up to the inside of your thigh. Then bring your hands to heart center and fix your gaze on one point in front of you, something that's not moving. So try not to be focusing on me. And then again, that bottom foot constantly moving to try and counterbalance all of the individual tendons that are working so hard in your foot to keep you balanced here. So press the sole of your foot into your leg and your leg back out into the sole of your foot so that your standing leg muscles are really active. And if your foot is down on the ground and your toes are as a kickstand and that's where you are today, then that's the perfect place for you to be. If this is challenging your balance, then stay here and breathe and focus on that one point. And if you feel stable and you're able to get your foot up towards the inside of your thigh, then great. And if you feel really good at your balance today, then the added bonus challenge is to close your eyes and see what happens. Be really mindful of all that movement that starts to happen in your foot. And again, if you fall out of it, come right back in. No judgment, no criticism from me, or even more importantly, from yourself. You're exactly where you need to be today. Option to open up your arms and take a different expression here. Lengthen your tailbone down towards the ground as you lift your heart towards the sky to elongate your spine. And then exhale, bring your hands back to heart center if you reach them up and release your foot down towards the ground. Shake out your legs and your arms for a moment before we move to the other side. And then bring all the weight into your left foot and the sole of your right foot comes to the inside of your ankle, calf, or thigh. And then notice here, if you can see my hips, when my foot's up on my thigh and I really press my foot into my thigh, it presses my left hip out towards the side. It's kind of that mom's hip where we lean into one side. We're carrying a child on our hip. And to counteract that, really press the inner thigh back into your foot and you'll see that keeps the hips in alignment here. So just be aware that your hips are square towards the front of the room. Even on one plane, you might need to drop your right hip down slightly. Fix your gaze to one point in front of you. And then stay here or open up your arms. And you know, if you're swaying side to side, back and forth, I always like to say that just means it's a little bit of a windy day, right? The weather changes every day. Right now, there's a little bit of a thunderstorm outside, so the branches of your tree might be moving a little bit. And that's okay, because it's not about being completely still in a perfect environment, but learning how to be calm and balanced in the midst of all this chaos that's always happening around us. And sometimes you can save yourself using your core and activating other muscles in your body when it starts to get a little bit too windy. Good, so bring your hands back to heart center if the arms are up. and then release your foot down towards the ground. Shake out your arms, shake out your legs. So those are 3 balancing poses that you can try. The first one, legs lift to activate the core. The second one, half moon, opening up through the hips and really starting to work on the strength in your legs and strengthening the joints around your hips. And then tree pose, balancing on one foot. Lots of different options to challenge, and that one also activates your parasympathetic nervous system. It helps you calm down and feel grounded. So I hope you enjoyed these balancing poses today. If there was one that you struggled with, keep coming back to this video and working on these balancing poses over and over again. My name is Ashley, and I hope to see you on or off the mat again soon. Namaste.